All right, going to talk about Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers, talk about keys for success for Quinn against Arizona State next week in their playoff game. We got 4 keys that we're going to talk about and maybe 5 or 6 clips of Quinn demonstrating these keys that we're about to talk about. But before we talk about Quinn, before we talk about these keys and look at the film, let's talk about Arizona State's defense for like 90 seconds. Then we'll dive into the Quinn talk. So Arizona State's defense, 3rd in the Big 12 in points per game, 4th in the Big 12 in yards per game, middle of the pack in passing yards given up, middle of the pack in sacks, one of the better defenses in turnovers as far as it relates to defending the passing game at 15 interceptions. That puts them 2nd in the Big 12. So one of the better defenses in the Big 12, and how I think they're going to probably attack Quinn. And again, I'm just some random guy on YouTube guessing, but I would expect them to drop 7 or 8 more likely than they are trying to blitz Quinn. Obviously, they are going to blitz strategically, but I'd expect them to drop more than they blitz and try to force Quinn to make a mistake and just really focus on finding a way to defend the run. That's probably their best attack on defense. But the reason I don't think they're going to blitz nearly as much as maybe another team would is they've done a lot better the past 4 or 5 games whenever they've dropped 7 or 8 to defend the pass. So against Iowa State, their most recent game, they blitzed 28% of the quarterback's dropbacks. Against Arizona, they blitzed 12% of the quarterback's dropbacks. BYU, only 19% of the quarterback's dropbacks. Kansas State, 26%. UCF, 29% of the quarterback's dropbacks. And they found more success dropping back and keeping everything in front than they did whenever they would blitz more often. Against Kansas, they gave up 31 points. Now, they won the game. That's the most points they've given up the entire season in a game, unless I am mistaken. And they blitzed 41% of the time. And since that game, they started blitzing less and dropping back more, and they've had more success. So I would imagine that's how they try to attack Texas. So if I'm Quinn Ewers, if I'm going into this game, what's the main keys? How can I really put my team in the best position to win? What are the keys for Quinn Ewers? I think it comes down to mimic the Clemson game. Like that game, the only reason Clemson was quote-unquote in the game and only lost by 2 touchdowns is because Klubnik made some impressive next-level NFL-style throws. I thought Quinn played great in that game. 17-24, 202 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception that was not his fault. It hit the receiver in the chest and it bounced up. 8.4 yards per attempt. He did have 2 drops where he could have been 19 of 24, so extremely efficient, extremely accurate. And there's only one real pass I can remember that I didn't like. That was a 4th down to Wingo, I believe, which is the ball was thrown slightly behind it. But besides that, I thought he managed the game perfectly. And I say game manager, perfect game management, I mean that as a really big compliment. Checks at line of scrimmage, making throws when you need to make throws, not making certain throws whenever they're trying to bait you. I think that's something that Quinn did really well last week. And you heard Sark talk about how great he managed the game. Like in today's day and age, if you have a roster like Texas and you manage the game, that's perfect. That's a compliment. So how do you manage the game if you're Quinn with his 4 keys? Number 1, be accurate and efficient downfield, just like we saw against Clemson. His footwork has been much better as of late. You've heard commentators and broadcasters talk about it the previous 5-6 games they've played. So much better as of late, getting his feet set and being on time with the ball. We'll see a few throws here in a second. Key number 2, and I was impressed with how he did this against Clemson. And maybe you don't need this key to beat Arizona State, but I was impressed with how well he did passing the ball without the use of play action. You know, in Sark's offense, you know how Quinn has been developed. He's always going to be good in play action. Like that's his bread and butter. Get defense out of position, scheme open receivers, really Sark-like. Well, against Clemson, he was 10 of 15 for 106 yards, 1 tutty, and 1 interception on straight drop back throws. Now, I don't know if you need to do this against Arizona State, but the ability is there if Arizona State is able to take away some play action type throws. So I was impressed with how he did that against Clemson. Key number 3, be good when the defense drops 7 or 8. We talked about this when we were talking about Arizona State. I imagine they would do this more often than they blitz. Whenever Quinn has faced this type of defense, whenever the defense has dropped 7 or 8 and they haven't blitzed, he's 67%, 66.9 actually, completion percentage, 15 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 7.4 yards per attempt. So continue to be good against those type of defenses. I expect you get that this playoff game. And the last key, hitting on 1 to 2 deep balls. This is always a big talking point, Quinn's deep ball. Well, against Clemson, he was 2 or 3 where the ball was thrown 20 yards or more downfield. That's all you need to be. I think it's Arizona State hitting a few deep balls so Arizona State knows that the ability is there. And you're probably going to just run it down their throat. That's probably the game plan, right? It's easier said than done. That's probably the game plan. Let your offensive line dominate, let the run game get going. But if you're Quinn, if you can hit on 1 or 2 deep balls, I think that really helps get the offense going. So just to wrap up these keys before we look at these 5-ish clips of film of Quinn, Be accurate and efficient. Your footwork has improved. That definitely does help. Key number 2, I was impressed with how well he did not using play action. So continue to do that, dropping straight back and reading the defense, letting the ball work. Key number 3, be good when the defense drops 7 or 8. So whenever they're not blitzing. Then key number 4, hit on 1 to 2 deep balls. I think that really helped Texas offense get into. So with that said, let's go ahead and check out 5 clips of Quinn that hopefully does a good job demonstrating the keys that we just talked about. So we got 5 clips of Quinn we're going to watch. And Texas fans, if you've seen the channel before, you know this is broadcast footage. I do apologize. We have to slow down the tape, but I think does a good enough job getting the point across. We do have some all-22 that we'll be using in the offseason. So first key, be efficient, be accurate, be on time. And I think a lot of that has to do with proper footwork in the pocket, which we talked about him improving these past few weeks. So here's against Georgia. Ball comes in on time. It's going to be top of the screen to, I forgot who he's throwing it to. The ball comes in on time. Ball is out. Accurate throw on time and able to hit your receiver. Receiver is able to turn upfield and get it first down. I believe that is golden there. We have a few clips that are real similar to this. Next clip is going to be against Kentucky. It's a third and 11. Top of the screen. Notice the ball comes out on time. Good footwork in the pocket. The ball is out before the receiver even turns. So this is what I mean by Quinn being accurate, getting the ball to the receivers so receivers can turn upfield. Ends up being a first down. You can see the DB is way off. This is your read the entire time. Eyes are there. Ball comes out. Ball is starting to be thrown now before he even breaks down. The ball comes out. That's a nice, easy read. Whenever the DB turns his back, you have that inside technique. Ends up being a first down there for Quinn, right? So main key number 1, be efficient, accurate, good footwork in the pocket, which what we saw in these 2 clips. Don't get lazy in the pocket. Ball comes out. Next key, the ability to throw without the use of play action. Both those clips weren't play action either, but this is a great throw, 3rd and 7 against Kentucky, end of the second quarter. Kentucky still in the game, and this was a great throw to his tight end Helm, middle of the field. Again, no help from play action. Ball comes out right now. It ends up being a touchdown. You got a guy here, safety over here. He can't get over in time. So Quinn has to put enough juice on the ball before the safety gets over. He also has to put enough touch on the ball before, so the DB, so it goes over the DB right here. Really nice throw. I think this is like a perfect example of a mature throw, next level throw. So seeing throws like this is always encouraging. And again, we talked about how good Quinn was without using play action against Clemson. 10 of 15, buck 05, one tutty, and 1 interception. Again, the interception not being his fault. So key number 2, dropping straight back, throwing the ball without the use of play action. Next key we're going to see, and actually I think 3 or 4 of these clips, they don't even blitz, but the ability to throw when the defense drops 7 or 8. So A&M only brings 7 here. Right, 7, or no, they only bring 8, excuse me. They only bring 8 here. Quinn reads the defense, ball comes out good. Again, good footwork there, but throwing when the defense does not blitz when they drop 7 or 8 is the next key that I think we're going to see from Arizona State. I don't think they're going to blitz a ton if we go off the film of the past few weeks, and I could be totally wrong. Again, I'm some random guy on YouTube talking, so I really don't know much compared to these coaches. But if I had to guess, I would guess it's the type of defense that you see from Arizona State trying to keep it in front. And then the next key, last clip I watched, just hit on 1 or 2 of these type of throws. Let me move myself. Hit on 1 or 2 of these type of deep throws here. This was one of his best throws of the season. Why did I move myself? One of his best throws of the season. I believe it's to Golden. Pressures in his face. Accurate ball downfield. You don't need a ton of these type of throws to beat Arizona State. I really don't think so. But hitting on 1 to 2, just like you did against Clemson, you were 2 of 3 and 20-yard throws. I think is all you need that can really help, have a big play, a big scoring opportunity, or just help open up the rest of the offense. So Texas fans, let's go back. Texas fans, I do want to hear from you, as always. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you want to see from Quinn? What do you think Quinn needs to do in order for Texas to be in a good position to win the game? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, this is your first time tuning in, please consider subscribing to the channel. We put out a lot of SEC quarterback content, so we'll have a lot of stuff throughout the offseason as well. So like the video, share if you like this type of SEC QB content. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace.